tonight on the news at 6.
It just feels really good to be able to use the skills and tools we have here at Carroll to contribute.
Carroll College has a new role in helping track the spread of COVID-19 in the community. Plus, Helena police put new technology to use, which could mean thousands in savings.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
I'm Marian Davidson. Well, today, Montana hit a new record for daily COVID-19 cases with 348 new cases. The state also reported 5 more COVID-19 related deaths. 1 death was reported in Yellowstone County, 1 in Flathead County, 1 in Roosevelt County, 1 in Glacier County, and 1 in Sweetgrass County. The death total now stands at 183. Active cases are nearing 3,600, but more than 9,400 people have fully recovered from the virus. And Montana has averaged more than 300 new COVID-19 cases a day for the last week. State hospitals say they are feeling the stress from COVID-19 hospitalizations and emphasize the importance of following prevention guidelines. Today, Governor Steve Bullock was joined by several chief medical officers to address the drastic rise in COVID-19 cases. Benefis Health System in Great Falls is currently at 115% capacity with 37 patients that were hospitalized due to COVID-19 complications. 7 of them are in the ICU. The state reports supplies in the Billings area have been stressed, with days of single-digit bed capacity remaining available. Bullock said that while the system is not overstressed yet, hospitals are in a difficult situation as cold and flu season approaches.
Our concerning trend in cases right now should cause us all some alarm. And what's most concerning is knowing what can happen to our healthcare system if we don't get the spread of this virus under control now. We've seen it happen in other states, and there's no real reason for it to happen in Montana.
Bullock recognized that words from the governor may not convince everyone to take wearing a mask and social distancing seriously, but he said he hopes people will listen to doctors and nurses who are dealing with cases every single day and have watched Montanans die because of the virus. All right, now let's get into first weather with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebeness.
All right, good evening, everybody. And I ask you, would you prefer today's weather or would you prefer last year's weather on this date? Take a look at all that snow in north central Montana. The Rocky Mountain front got hit with as much as 52 inches of snow. You could send in your votes whether you'd like today's weather or last year's weather, and I'll tally them in a couple of weeks. Now, beautiful blue sky. However, if you were to go outside and look towards the west here, you likely will see a little orangish hue as wildfire smoke is moving back into the western part of the state. And tomorrow, the sky won't be quite as blue. We will have a little in the way of some haze out there, but the good news is it does not look like the smoke sticks around for long, moving off towards the south here by Friday, but still looking at some smoke sitting there. Washington, Oregon, and parts of California. But we've got days of more vitamin D ahead of us here with a lot of sunshine. Gray skies, smoky skies are going to clear up, so put on a happy face. And it may be the middle of the month before we see some significant precipitation. More coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Curtis. And Carroll College is doing something new. Thanks to a partnership with Lewis and Clark County, the City of Helena, and the City of East Helena, Carroll College started surveillance testing for COVID-19 in wastewater. MTN's John Riley reports.
Understanding the full extent of COVID in any given area has been an ongoing challenge for health departments across the nation. The new wastewater surveillance by Carroll will help Lewis and Clark Public Health track the rise and fall of coronavirus in Helena and East Helena. Public Health had been relying on diagnostic testing to track COVID prevalence, but that doesn't show a full picture.
Unlike someone making a decision, to go and get it tested for COVID-19, we all use the toilet, right? So really what we're looking at here in this way, testing of wastewater provides a true population indicator. If it's there, we have sick people in our community. We know that.
The county had used a national company earlier this year for wastewater testing, but results were taking weeks or more to come back, which isn't beneficial. Carroll gets their samples on Wednesday and provides results on Friday of that week. Associate Professor of Biology Stephanie Otto-Hitt says they've been looking for ways to help the community since COVID first appeared in the state and are thrilled they could provide this service.
Never in a million years would I have thought I'd be in this situation, but it just feels really good to be able to use the skills and tools we have here at Carroll to contribute something to this difficult time that everyone's experiencing. So even back in March when it started, we really wanted to get up on the diagnostic testing. When this opportunity came along, it was just like, yes, we want to be involved and we want to be useful to the community.
Early results of samples taken have shown a correlation between higher concentrations of the virus in wastewater and the number of cases in the cities of Helena and East Helena. Testing is funded through the end of the year through CARES Act dollars. However, Public Health said they'd like to continue that testing into the future due to the valuable information they can gain from that testing. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Well, Great Falls police are investigating after an infant died at an unlicensed daycare over the weekend. As MTN's Coulter Anstad explains, one local organization is trying to educate people, especially parents, about how to choose the right childcare.
Our website is familyconnectionsmt.org.
Lori Sarek is the marketing director for Family Connections in Great Falls. When the organization learned about the tragic death of an infant at an unlicensed daycare in Great Falls, she reached out to KRTV.
Really what we want to do is be a resource for families to let them know that we are here for them. We have free referrals to licensed child care facilities at no charge to the family. We also have scholarships to help families pay for child care. And then we help child care providers become licensed with the training and professional development that they need, things like CPR and first aid.
Sarek says the daycare operates on a drop-in or as-needed basis, but she doesn't know enough about it to know if it was legally operating without a license. Family Connections has a program that can help people wanting to provide child care but who do not have a license.
Say someone does work those non-traditional hours, or maybe they live in a rural area where there isn't a licensed child care provider, and yet they have a friend or family member that is willing to watch their child. We can do the background check on not only that person but everyone in the household, get them their CPR first aid and some basic child development.
Family Connections Executive Director Kim Stoll says there's no telling how many unlicensed child care facilities there are in Montana. While she recommends always sending your child to a licensed provider, that may be easier said than done.
There's a need for child care in the state of Montana, but there's especially a need in Great Falls and the surrounding areas. Parents are just desperate for especially infant care, but also odd-hour care.
A need that unfortunately likely isn't going away anytime soon. In Great Falls, Coulter Anstad, MTN News.
Well, St. Peter's Health issued a reminder to be aware of prostate cancer. According to St. Peter's Health, prostate cancer is the second deadliest cancer in men after lung cancer. Nationally, an estimated 1 in 9 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. That number translates to an estimated 200,000 new diagnoses every year. A urologist says early detection is key.
Early cancer detection, the options available for treatment are a lot more plentiful. So if we can detect it early, patients have the option of sometimes even just observation. The farther along prostate cancer progresses, some of those options disappear. And so that's why screening is so important.
The American Urological Association recommends getting tested for prostate cancer yearly, beginning at the age of 50. Screening typically includes a blood test. And still ahead on the news at 6, how the Helena Police Department's new cruiser is helping fight more than crime.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6, and new this evening. The Helena Police Department recently rolled out its first hybrid patrol vehicle. MTN's Alexia Guayo has the story.
Ford announced this model of part electric and part fuel for police cars this year, according to HPD. They spent the last 2 months test driving the vehicle. The lieutenant in charge of purchasing said the department already noticed a fuel mileage increase of 5 to 6 gallons, which will save money long term.
When it comes to fuel consumption, that's a huge budget item on us. You know, we've got a lot of police cars running around all day long every day, and so one of our biggest expenses is fuel. So anything we can do to cut down on that saves us money, saves the taxpayers money.
The Helena Police Department estimates savings of about $3,000 a year on fuel with each hybrid vehicle. They only have one hybrid patrol car right now, but they expect to continue with this new wave of patrol cars.
We don't know where we're at, if we're going to go full implementation where everything's a hybrid. As the auto manufacturers coming up with different vehicles, we could be seeing full electric vehicles at some point in the future too. So we're just going to kind of take it as they come and try them out and see what suits our needs the best.
These hybrid vehicles also fit the needs of other HPD tech. Their second-generation body cameras can connect to any patrol car so that if a situation occurs, the camera automatically begins recording even before the lights go on.
Let's say a police officer is driving down and goes to make a traffic stop, they activate that on, they actually have the violation captured because it's 30 seconds prior.
HPD seem invested in these new technologies. They've ordered 2 more of these hybrid vehicles to roll out in 2021. In Helena, I'm Lexi Guayo, MTM News.
All right, now let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebeness for what's coming up in weather.
I like the look of that vehicle from this vantage point as opposed to that vantage point. Taking a look at the global satellite, and high pressure continues to dominate our weather. If you like today's weather, well, you're in luck because we've got maybe at least another week similar to today. More on the full forecast coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebeness.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good Wednesday evening to you all. A little cloud cover hung tough through the morning hours into the early afternoon, but for the most part, the majority of the state absolutely gorgeous once again. 61 degrees in Great Falls. Check out the records. 91 in 1992. That was a warm day, but how about 12 last year? That was part of that cold, snowy system that hit a lot of the state here last year at this time. 68 presently in the capital city, and the record's not quite as impressive and not quite as recent either. Temperatures in the 50s and the 60s for most of the state west of the Continental Divide. Some of this cooler air did not get up over the divide, and Lewistown a little cooler because of the cloud cover that was out there for most of the day. A lot of wind in eastern Montana, but even that wind will die down. Really calm and clear for the most part here tonight, and heading into tomorrow, there may be a little breeze off of the Rocky Mountain front, so late tomorrow into early Friday. And Friday we'll have another minor front come through that will pick up the wind into eastern Montana. Still no activity on these fires. However, yesterday, southwest of the Three Forks area, there was a new wildfire that really kind of grew pretty rapidly. Firefighters worked this fire through the night last night and were able to put that fire out here. So nice job, but that smoke plume certainly was growing. At least 100 acres burned on that fire, and as long as we have these dry conditions, expect that fire danger to remain high. Look how dry it still is here across the west. Our high pressure, giving us the nice weather, is also sending some smoke back here into the western part of the state. The high has shifted just a little bit, and we're seeing more of a southwest flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere moving into the state. So that smoke is increasing right now and will be overhead as we go through Thursday. Also Thursday, some partly cloudy skies, so a little more in the way of clouds and also a little more in the way of smoke, making for a grayish, hazy sky. Heading into Friday, there may actually be some raindrops into eastern Montana, out there around Fort Peck Lake, maybe a couple of showers, but becoming mostly sunny for the entire state by Friday afternoon. Saturday, mostly sunny. Sunday, likely a clear day. And look at that precipitation staying away from Montana until maybe the end of next week. Tonight, lows down into the 20s in some locations up here closer to the Canadian border. Not record cold, but noteworthy that it's dropping down below the freezing point. Should be close to the freezing point. Maybe a little frost around the Helena area for tomorrow. And then for Thursday, for tomorrow, still a little cool northeast Montana with partly to mostly cloudy skies. And again, some smoke moving in overhead here. So a little grayer of a day for a lot of the state tomorrow. For Friday, a minor front once again moves through the state. That front will likely push that smoke down to the south, and a pretty nice day once again. Saturday also looking pretty nice, 60s and 70s, and heading into Sunday, look at this, mostly sunny skies, a little southwest wind increasing. We'll have to watch that fire danger. It's just been so dry. We can't have all this nice weather without having some sort of an issue here. But for Helena, smoky skies a little bit tomorrow. Not the worst that we've seen, but the visibility should be okay. And the air quality will likely still be okay because most of that smoke is in the upper levels of the atmosphere. For Great Falls, also a little smoky tomorrow, slightly cooler and cleaner air on Friday. And then through the weekend into next week, we're in the 70s.
And coming up, a lot seems like it's down this year, but not state park visitation numbers. We'll have that when we return.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back, and new data confirmed it. Montana's state parks saw many more visitors this year. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian talked to Fish, Wildlife and Parks about what led to the increase.
Overall, Montana state parks have reported a 25% increase in visitation for the first half of the year, compared to the same time in 2019. Many of the most popular parks, like Helena's Spring Meadow Lake, are those close to larger cities.
So a lot of those parks that people are really getting out to on some of those first nice spring days, they're easy to get to, and they're also looked at as places to safely recreate that time of year.
The state's most visited park was again Giant Springs in Great Falls, which saw nearly 200,000 visits between January and June. Spring Meadow had just under 80,000 visits, 29% higher than the first half of 2019. Fish, Wildlife and Parks says mild weather early in the year likely contributed to the jump in visitors, but they also say the COVID-19 pandemic may have been a factor.
We did have a lot of people that were new to the state park system, so I think that a lot of people wanting to get outside, experience something new, really attracted a whole new audience to the state park system.
Tim Gittens says he's not surprised visitation is up. He's come to Spring Meadow regularly with his granddaughter Emily over the last 2 years.
It seems very busy and a lot more people. Prior to this year, it was mostly elderly people like myself, usually with their grandkids or something, but this year a lot more young adults with children.
The overall increase in visitation came as several parks, like Bannock and Lewis and Clark Caverns, saw fewer visitors, partly due to COVID-related restrictions. Leaders say during the first half of the year, many of their visitors were locals, particularly during COVID restrictions. But they expect the numbers for the rest of 2020 will show a jump in out-of-state visitors as well. At Spring Meadow Lake, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
All right, and we'll wrap things up here on the news at 6 when we come back.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Back, and here's a story you didn't know you wanted to hear tonight. Some foul-mouthed parrots at a British zoo are in big trouble for swearing at people. Yikes. 5 African gray parrots were donated from separate owners to the Lincolnshire Wildlife Park within the same week. The birds, Eric, Jade, Elsie, Tyson, and Billy, were sharing a quarantine facility, but staff said the parrots were soon swearing at each other and then at visitors. The zoo removed the parrots from public view so children would not hear all the profanity. Staff are hoping the birds' language will get more family-friendly now that they have been separated.
All right, that's a zoo I would go to. Here's a look at Great Falls. Tomorrow, a little smoky skies here as some of this wildfire smoke from California will be moving in. Again, I think it's mainly in the upper levels of the atmosphere, not so much down at the surface. What that means is our air quality should remain good here for most of the state. Any little smoke in the sky is out of here on Friday this weekend. Looks pretty nice, and tomorrow, the first day of October, a little smoky for Helena as well, but the first weekend looks very unusually nice.
All right, and that does it for the news here at 6. We'll be back here with your latest headlines tonight at 10.